To another edition of Ducks and Sources. This week, we preview Week 13 of the NFL. Should be good. With a lot of interesting matchups and a lot of playoff type matchups this week, as the playoffs are closely getting here, and cannot wait for a few weeks for playoffs to start, because that is some of the best playoffs in all of sports, and cannot wait for the NFL playoffs this year. But our first matchup of the week, we will talk about the Thursday night matchup. Oh baby, it's a juicy one too, as the New Orleans Saints travel to the Georgia Dome, take on the Atlanta Falcons. Start with New Orleans, not gonna lie, last week's loss was a big blow to their playoff chances. I mean, after that 0-4 start, they clawed their way back into the playoff race, and they were in it. You know, even having a big win over Atlanta in that stretch where they won 5 out of 6. But last week, losing to San Francisco, big loss. Because now basically they're gonna have to win. They're gonna have to win the rest of their games on their schedule, last 4 games, on top of maybe have some help along the way. So it's gonna be tough for anyone to get into the playoffs. But I will give them credit. After they went 0-4, I wrote them off and thought they were done, and thought they'd just continue to have a bad season and would win maybe 5-6 games this year. But they didn't. They clawed themselves back into it, going on an impressive streak. Drew Brees shows week in, week out why he's one of the best players in the league, as he shows that he is an elite QB and comes to play every week. And a lot of players, maybe not the best season in the world, but players on the Saints are still coming to play every week. Very, very impressive. And they're playing a team this week who is 10-1, yes, in the Atlanta Falcons. But the Atlanta Falcons still have issues. And the issues start on their defense with their tackling. You know, last week against Tampa Bay, yes, they got the win, but just a common theme that's become with the Atlanta Falcons I've noticed the last couple weeks is bad tackling, guys not pursuing to the ball, and guys when they get there not wrapping up and doing basic stuff, and that is going to hurt Atlanta down the stretch, I think, when they have to play a team like a New York or a San Francisco who is likes to run the ball. That's really going to hurt them, because they're going to have to be able to stop the run. It's something they haven't really been doing a lot this year. But that being said, they are 10-1. And hook or by crook, this team just finds a way to win every week. It may not be pretty. Last week against Tampa Bay, not pretty. I mean, got outplayed. Let's call it for what it is. The Atlanta Falcons got outplayed by the Tampa Bay Bucks last week. But Matt Ryan, in the fourth quarter, which he's been clutch all year, finds a way to win the game. And this is a big game for the Atlanta Falcons. Because, let's be honest, their only loss here is to the Saints. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people in the Atlanta Falcons organization that do not like the Saints. I mean, from the situation from last year when they felt they were trying up the score on Atlanta Falcons, when Drew Brees was trying to get the single-season passing record. And then, you know, coming in this year, a lot of players on this team just do not like the Saints. And I think at home, on primetime, this is finally to show the world that they're going to get over the Saints hump and beat the Saints, and I think that will happen this week. I think Matt Ryan will come to play. I think Julio Jones will be targeted a lot. I think Tony Dallas is going to have a big game, and I think this defense will come up and play this week. And I expect this team to get a lot of sacks this week. I expect pressure in Drew Brees' face all game long, and I expect the Atlanta Falcons to beat New Orleans Saints in the Georgia on Thursday night. But will be a close game, but Atlanta wins this game. Our next matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Baltimore, take on the Baltimore Ravens. Start with the Steelers. Not pretty last week against Cleveland Browns. You know, down to their third stringer and Charlie Batch last week. Didn't look well. You know, losing to the Browns. You know, turned the ball over I think like 5-6 times. Not impressive. They're hoping that Troy Polamalu will be back this week, and more importantly, Big Ben. Because, let's be honest, without Big Ben in the lineup, this team really has no chance to win. I mean, we saw with Leftwich, didn't really play good. Then he gets hurt. Charlie Batch, you know, there's a reason this guy's a third stringer. He may have been there forever, might know the system, but there's a reason why he's never moved up and become a starter in the NFL. And I just think without Big Ben, the team has no chance. I think if Big Ben's hurt again, I think you need to run the ball a lot. Might be your only chance in this one. And because they're playing a team, the Baltimore Ravens, who is losing their leader on defense and their real team leader overall in Ray Lewis, but it's still clicking on all cylinders. This team, a lot of people talk about the Texans in the AFC, or the Patriots in the AFC, or even the Denver Broncos in the AFC. A lot of people not really paying attention that much to the Baltimore Ravens, but to me, they are still a scary, scary team. And I truly believe they are up there, and I really think they could still get a bye in the second round of the playoffs. I really think they can go with anyone in this league. And we'll see what happens this week, but I expect Baltimore-Pittsburgh to be your typical Baltimore-Pittsburgh game. Low scoring, lots of defense, a lot of running the ball. I expect Ray Rice to have a big game. But I just think at home, in Baltimore, Pittsburgh Steelers banged up. I just think it's an uphill battle for the Steelers. And I expect the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. And our next matchup could be a possible playoff matchup as the Seattle Seahawks travel to Chicago to take on the Chicago Bears. So Seattle still impresses me week in, week out. I really believe I'm starting to buy into Seattle. I mean, with Russell Wilson, a guy I wasn't very high on coming into his NFL career, but he is playing well. He is right up there. Maybe he's not as good as RG3 or Andrew Luck, but he's like the third best QB this year, which is saying something because there's a lot of good young QBs, rookie QBs in this league this year, and I really like the way he's playing and the team that can run the ball. And Seattle Seahawks, there's a mojo going right now. Seattle Seahawks, are they going to win the West? Probably not. Probably San Francisco is going to win the West, but I really believe in Seattle right now, and I think they could be maybe a team that gets into the playoffs, maybe a team nobody will want to play as soon as they get there. Because they can run the ball and they can play some kick-ass defense. They know how to play defense. They can get after the passer. They got some great corners back there. And will be interesting this week because we're playing a playoff-type team in the Chicago Bears, who, when Jay Cutler came back last week, you saw the real Chicago Bears, in my opinion, as Jay Cutler was fine Brandon Marshall all day long, played great. Their defense got back to doing what they do, which is get after the passer and pick balls off. Chicago Bears playing great right now. I really believe Chicago Bears are an elite Super Bowl type team, and I really like the Bears. I like them going into the season. I thought they would be a playoff team. I still think they make the playoffs. And this is a big game because you got a team in Seattle who are going to bring their defense and their running game to Soldier Field and pack that running game in Soldier Field. But I just think at home, Jay Cutler's playing well since he's come back. Brandon Marshall's playing some of his best football of his career. And I think the Chicago Bears beat the Seattle Seahawks. It'll be a close game. Be a playoff-type atmosphere at Soldier Field. But the Chicago Bears just get it done on Sunday. And our next matchup we're going to focus on is the New York Giants traveling to FedEx Field to take on the Washington Redskins. And last week, the Giants got back to doing what the Giants do. I mean, everybody talks about how bad they were, but Giants, we knew who the Giants are. They're a team in November that goes to sleep. They're like a bunch of bears. They hibernate in November, but when December rolls around, their A game comes out, and it was shown last week as they just kicked the Packers' ass up and down the field. Very, very impressive. Eli got back to being what Eli is, which is a good QB. And running the ball with Bradshaw, they're looking real good. Cruz and Nix back healthy, looking great right now. And a defense who last year weren't really a great top defense, but got back to being the type of defense that the Giants should be, and are playing great right now. And overall, the Giants are playing good, and they might be that team to go back to the Super Bowl. They're playing at that high level right now, and they can run the football and play defense, and they can also beat you in the air. They are the total package and a tough team to stop. And on the other side, they have, in my opinion, probably the most young, exciting QB to watch in the league right now. Robert Griffin III, played well. In my opinion, it's hands down who the Rookie of the Year is right now, as I believe the Washington Redskins, RG3 is the Rookie of the Year. This guy is playing really good, putting the Washington Redskins on his back, and they seem to win game in, game out. And this may not look great on paper, but the Washington Redskins still have a shot at the playoffs. So this is a big game for the Skins And I really believe the Washington Redskins are going to be a team to be reckoned with the next few years with RG3. They're going to be in the Giants' face year in, year out. But I just think the Giants just on a roll right now. The Redskins playing well too, but I just think Eli Manning will have the advantage in this one. As Robert Griffin III in prime time. Let's see how he plays in prime time. But I just think Eli Manning will not be shocked by being in prime time and will not be nervous playing in prime time. Maybe Robert Griffin III will be. Not saying he will be, but he might be. So that's why I will take Eli Manning and the New York Giants to beat the Washington Redskins in FedEx Field on Monday night. And should be an interesting one. This will be a close game, but the Giants come out with the win in this one. And our rest of the games this week: Philadelphia, Dallas. I'll take the Cowboys, the desperate Cowboys, to get a win this one, as Philly is awful. Houston at Tennessee. I will take Houston to keep on rolling. New England at Miami. Miami playing well, but I will take the Pats in this one. Jacksonville at Buffalo. At home, I think will be the difference in this one, as I think the Buffalo Bills beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts traveling to Ford Field to take on the Lions. Tough game. I think it's a big game for the Colts, and I think the Colts get this one done in Detroit at Ford Field on Sunday. Carolina at KC. Okay, that's it. Cam Newton's playing good. He's back on track. So here at Ducks Know Sports, we are lifting our Cam Newton band, and we are rolling with Cam Newton this week and the Carolina Panthers as they will beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Minnesota at Green Bay. I will take Green Bay as Minnesota's kind of fallen and have not got up. San Francisco at St. Louis. I will roll with the 49ers in this one, as they're looking. They could be maybe the best team in the NFC right now. Arizona, the Jets. Well, this ain't going to be pretty. But I think at home, I think the Jets get it done, as Arizona will lose another one in a row, which I believe will be now like 7 or 8 they've lost in a row. Tampa Bay at Denver. I will roll with Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos at home against a very, very impressive young Tampa Bay Bucks team. Cincinnati at San Diego. San Diego, in my opinion, have quit on the season. They are done. So I will take the Bengals. And our final game, Cleveland and Oakland. I will take the Oakland Raiders at home to beat the Cleveland Browns. But just remember, keep track of my picks. As last week I went 11-5. Pretty good week. Not a great week, but not an awful week. To bring my overall record to 117, 57, and 1. Well, till next time, I'm Aaron Duxbury saying I'm Ducks, and I know sports.